How do we normally start these? I say something like, hello and welcome to Tech Addicts, and then say something stupid, to which you respond, and then you be all professional for the rest of the show, and I'll run around like a child making silly comments.
Yes, perhaps you should do a running start with that.
This is the Tech Addicts Podcast.
We're back, and Google Glass is back as well. The Honor Pad 8 is unveiled. There's a new tablet from Nokia. OnePlus 10T loses nice features. Motorola's Razr for 2022 will be unveiled soon. And how big is too big when it comes to portable batteries? Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts Podcast. I'm your host Gareth, and this is Ted Salmon.
Who's that? I've forgotten who you are.
Well, it's been a whole 2 weeks since we last broadcast, and so much has happened since then. Oh wow, it's hard to believe that it's been 2 weeks. It's flown by, has it not, Ted?
Wow, yeah. So did you have a lovely holiday? Did you get a nice suntan in that ridiculous heat?
No, actually, we went up to Donegal and managed to avoid the heat. The Monday that was, I think the Tuesday and Monday were the two very hot days. The Monday we spent that in the car driving to the destination, and then the Tuesday where we were was cloudy and a bit. It was warm, but it wasn't anywhere near what you guys over in the mainland were suffering. Right. So I managed to avoid it. But I will say this: some of my security cameras didn't.
Did they melt?
I think the night vision in one of the cameras has been affected by the heat, or by, I don't think it's direct sunlight because it's off to the side, but whenever I put on the camera in night vision mode, there's a bit of a flicker to it, and I can't quite work out what it is, and it flickers, which registers as movement. And then it sends me a notification to say there's movement. So I had to go and turn night vision off, and now I have to use the camera just in sort of dark mode with brightness way up. So that's an interesting thing, yeah.
Yes, the heat's it's going to become a problem, I think. At the risk of turning the podcast into a environmental podcast, going forward,
as opposed to just no, I won't do that.
Going forward, I think it's going to just become a problem as things are just going to get hotter and hotter. But maybe not. Maybe not. Today's all right. Weather report is that today, here anyway, it's kind of okay, coolish. The sun's out, but it's not baking hot and horrible. So, fingers crossed we get past the summer and no more stupid heat waves.
Well, yeah, it is quite warm here, and I'm starting to notice a build-up of sweat in my pits. So I may have to reach up there and open the skylight at some point in the near future.
I had a mouthful of coffee then.
Lovely.
Oh dear. Gareth Williams has missed us. He says that he, on the grand return of the Tech Addicts Podcast, not a moment too soon. There's been much wailing and gnashing of teeth here in South Wales. Glad you're back and hope the break was enjoyable. Thank you, Gareth. Number one fan.
Excellent. Thanks, Gareth. We're back and we're fully recharged and good to go. Well, I suppose, Ted, you've been podcasting like crazy since, doing phone show and whatever works as well.
Yeah. I never go anywhere. Never do anything. I'm a hermit. I lead a boring life. You'd hate it.
Okay. All right. Well, while we were away, there was a whole Amazon Prime Day, and I felt like I'd fill you in because this Amazon Prime Day, I actually bought quite a bit. Oh. I think in the last number of years, I've managed to avoid Black Fridays and things like that for buying stuff, and I went for it this time, and I got a number of deals that I was really quite pleased with. I also returned a huge amount of stuff because so many things weren't up to snuff. The first thing I ordered, I got a wee deal on some of those outside solar lights, you know, the wee triangular ones that you stick up the solar panel on the top and then LEDs at the bottom, motion sensor and that kind of thing. I bought a couple of those for my mum because her outside lights were getting old and rusty and things like that, so I've removed those and put these in instead. And I got a 2-pack of the Rayos solar lights, outdoor upgraded optics lens solar security lights, catchily titled. That were I think they dropped in price down to $12.99 or something like that for 2 of them, and they're quite small but they're very powerful. And one of them actually worked, and it's performing very well. The other one didn't. Well, I had a quick look down into the comments, and that seems to be a recurring theme. One of them worked, one of them didn't. She's delighted with the one that does work, and she keeps looking at it going, so I don't have to plug this in. It's not going to affect my electricity bill. It can be on all the time. So she's swayed by these things. Yeah. I take it you have a couple as well, don't you?
Yeah, outside the van, there's the static. There's 2 on the side. They don't look like these ones, but the same principle. And yeah, they're good. The only problem with my ones is that they're very, very narrow pickup. I see this one's 120 degrees, and it looks like it's decent, whereas my one's very, very narrow. But yeah, they're good, and I can't believe that they're basically £9 each. Hopefully they will work. Are they going to send you another one?
I don't know. I have to go back around. I haven't seen her since before I went away, because I ran round, quickly installed these and say, let me know how you get on. And she says the one that I installed above the garage door doesn't turn on at all, but the one that I installed above her front door does, and she loves it.
Maybe it's hasn't had enough exposure to sunlight yet or something.
No. It's been up there for 2 weeks and it's just not turning on. But it's in an awkward place for me to be able to go up and get it. And there's actually a wee push button on the front of these that can change the settings and stuff. So perhaps I just haven't set it up correctly, which I'm hoping. But I'll maybe do that this afternoon. Okay. But I don't have high hopes because a lot of people are saying that one of them works, one of them doesn't.
Well, even for £18, if it was one that worked well, I still would say that's worth the money.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah. Well, they were £12 when I bought them, so it'd be £12 for one. But I should be getting 2 for £12, which is £6 each. The next one was I have the Netgear Orbi system throughout the house, and I was able to get just another satellite, because you can buy the pack of these where you get 3 or 4 of them for about like £500 or whatever. They are quite expensive to buy outright, and I did decide to cheapen out, and I got a pack of 3, and 3 of them kind of covers the whole house, but not quite the bedroom, because I live in a bungalow and it's sprawly. As opposed to, it would work really well if I was like in a 3-story townhouse. I could have maybe 2 of them on different floors, but it just doesn't quite cover the whole house. And way down in the bedroom where I might be using my Chromebook, I've discovered that I'm just not getting particularly fast speeds, and it seems to be clinging on to the 4 point, no, what is it?
2.4.
2.4, that's the one. It's been 2 weeks and I can't remember anything about technology. The 2.4, and things slow down. And then if my wife does the same thing, because she's working down at that end of the house with her new job, she's kind of suffering slower speeds. So I decided to get one of these, and they're normally £300 each, which is a bit of a rip-off for the satellite. But it was dropped down to £200 on Prime Day, so I grabbed one, installed it, and I'm dead chuffed because they are so fast.
200, even at the reduced price, that's still a lot of money, isn't it?
It is, but once you get these set up, and you see horror stories of people having trouble and it keeps falling and collapsing and things like that. I did have that for the first 2 weeks until I got to know the settings inside it. And since I've set it up, I haven't restarted this once, and I've had this for, about a year or so. It's just been consistently strong and stable. I'm dead chuffed with it, and adding in this new satellite was dead easy.
It's just so boring to buy something that you set up and put in a corner, and you can't interact with it. You don't play with it, and it's got no OLED screen on it, and that's it. It just sits in the corner. You've got no satisfying plays. All you can see is the result of what it's doing, which is, I'm sure, very very good. But if I'm going to spend 200 quid on something, I want to be able to play with it.
Yeah, but it's very nice to get a bit of technology that you can just put in and totally forget about, and it just runs.
Yeah,
I've never had an issue. The only issue that I suppose I do have with this is that I think that it does 60 wireless items, and I've come close to that whenever my stepdaughter was in the house. And when she left, she took her vast array, and that freed up almost like 10 slots. And I was like, oh, wow, I can put in security cameras and stuff. So it does get a bit unstable whenever it starts getting close to like 60, and you start to notice maybe your phone will go, hang on a second, having trouble getting a connection here. But as long as you keep it within the boundaries of the supported devices, then you're good.
Very good.
The next one I bought was because of a little deal that appeared through the Blue Rams app. Blue Rams is a security camera manufacturer who I have used for the last number of years. I have a number of their cameras and I'm quite chuffed with them. But they have now put out a security camera that has a wireless solar panel. And it's a 2K Wi-Fi camera that I thought, I'm going to attach that to the side of my shed and point it up the garden. So if anyone were to approach the shed that has my nice lawnmower inside of it and my barbecue, then I'll be able to, have video evidence of them stealing stuff, especially while I'm away on holiday.
You can collar them.
Yes, and I don't have to run a wire out to be able to do this. It would run off the wireless solar panel. Also, it would connect to that end of the house where I put in this new router, which is great. And it worked. It worked for about a week. And then I got a notification to say that there was a firmware update. And I went, brilliant. And I did the firmware update, and it said it's giving my camera new superpowers, and it all seemed really, really good. And it did that for about 6 hours and never turned on again. And the app just continually says, giving it superpower. So I had to remove it, I had to return it, and now I'm not going to buy it again because I'm not getting that discount that I got before. Because normally they're 80 quid, they gave it to me for 40 quid, and I went, that's a bargain, I'm having that. So that's gone back. I'll wait until they do a new incarnation of this.
Have you seen the picture of the actor playing the robber breaking into on the Amazon page? That's really funny.
In red.
Yeah,
with football.
yeah, and he's looking behind. He's got his driving gloves on. That's just such a funny picture.
But I have to say, for the week that I had it, the clarity of it was terrific. It was really very good. I enjoyed that week. I do get into these fully wireless and solar charged cameras. I could quite happily have these around the house without having to worry about placement. You can just whack it in as long as the solar panel is pointing south, then it should be able to pick up enough sun to be able to, well, if you're in the northern hemisphere, that is, enough sun to charge the camera. And I was watching it for that week. It was a bit cloudy that week, and it just stayed constant. It stayed at 40%. I plugged it in and whacked it up to 70, and it stayed constant as well. I imagine whenever the sun came out and started beating down on it, it would have charged the thing quite nicely. But I never got to do that, which was a shame. But these seem to be the next step to security cameras, having a solar panel with you. And the very last thing that I bought was my bathroom light broke, the wee cord that you pull. And the whole unit is broken up there, and I was thinking, I don't like the cordy thing, so I've decided I'm just going to use those wireless charging cupboard lights and just stick them on the skirting boards. And I tried to find some nice plush ones, but also ones that charged over USB Type-C.
Right.
Which was really difficult to find. Most of them do micro USB, but I found these ones which were really quite nice. And they're in, and whenever you walk in, it just illuminates the floor, and they last for, I think they're probably going to last for about a month before I'll need to charge them again.
And are they magnetized?
They are, yes.
Yeah.
You stick the little
Brilliant.
bits of metal to the wall and then clamp these on.
Yeah, we've done these on Whatever Works a few times. But like you, I've never seen yet a USB-C one. So that's really good. And the ones that we put on the show have been excellent. I've still got one running here in my kitchen, and it just goes on and on. It's great.
Yeah, it looks very sexy as well. It's a good looking piece of equipment. I have one of these, and I'd been using it for a while since it broke, since the light switch broke. But getting it to charge over micro USB, it didn't always charge whenever I hooked it up. So I figured I'd just get some new ones and have two, one on one side, one on the other.
How much were they in your sale?
I think they were £15.
Because they're 20 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Although that's still reduced from $26.99. They're not cheap items, are they?
No, and finding one, the micro USB ones can be very cheap, and you get a large amount of them for about, I don't know, 15 quid or so. But these two for, well, I suppose £20 is their normal price. Actually, it was 27
Oh, do you
their
get
normal
two?
price.
Is there two in the pack?
There is, yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought it was one for that price. Well, that's not so bad then, yeah.
Yeah, and it takes 2 hours for them to charge, so whenever they do run out, you just charge them during the day. And I know it's not exactly the most exotic thing, but it's really nice light, and they have a white one and a warm glow, and I like the warm glow in the bathroom. It's very chic.
I've been playing with warm lights on my phones this last week. I put a post up in the MeWe group about it, actually. And I've never really done that before. I don't know if you use that, but I set it for like 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. or something to go kind of orange. And on some phones you can adjust the amount of orange it is. And I do find it really interestingly relaxing in a way when it's after dark. So much so that I turned up the thing on my Windows computer as well, so when it gets to 9 o'clock on my Windows computer, that all goes the same kind of orange and stuff. And I'm quite, I mean, at the moment I might turn it off in time, I suppose, but at the moment I quite like it. Do you use that?
Oh, eye care, essentially, yeah.
Yeah,
I do, yeah. It is good. I keep trying to get my wife to do it, but she's technically blind anyway, so I don't think it makes a difference to her.
Oh dear.
But these. It is great on your Windows computer. It was my daughter actually pointed it out to me, saying you should do this as well, because she was up gaming at 3 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
I was like, that's bad for your eyes, and she was like, no, I've got screen care on.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes it okay.
Yeah, that means you don't need sleep ever. And your eyes can just work 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I didn't get anything on Prime Day, incidentally.
No?
Nothing at all. But Steve did get the Poco F4 GT, which he sent over. It was 700 quid, and it was reduced to 400 quid. It was the biggest reduction on the whole thing, I think. 300 quid off. And it's been a really, really nice phone. I've really enjoyed it in lots and lots of ways, except one big one, which is MIUI. I totally get that if you had a phone for 2 years, you get used to the way that Xiaomi / Poco do this whole thing, and you get used to the way MIUI works. But I just find at almost every turn it's just annoying. Little things that they do differently, things that are missing from stock Android and vanilla Android. I don't know. It's just MIUI just is not for me. And in the end, I did my written review, which I could link to in the show notes, but it's in PSC as well. It's gone back, and he's got his 400 quid back from Amazon, because we tried to sell it at that price on the classifieds in MeWe, but no one was biting, nobody wanted it, so which is a shame. The speakers are just amazingly loud. It's a gaming phone, and it's got these hardware trigger thingies on the corners, and it's beautifully made. It's a really nice phone, but the whole software thing, and I tried to install Nova to get round it, and other launchers, and as soon as you install Nova or other launchers, any other launcher onto it, MIUI blocks gesture navigation, so you've got to go back to 3 buttons, and I'm not doing that at this stage, I'm afraid. That's like archaic. and that you just can't use it. Well, you can actually go and do some coding in the background and kind of jailbreak it, inverted commas, in order to get that to work. But I couldn't be asked with that. Anyway, so that was the only thing that we got really on Prime Day. You got a lot more than us.
Yeah, I got other stuff as well, but I had to send them back, pairs of shoes and things like that. You just can't buy shoes online. The sizing's all wrong. I think they come in with American sizes.
Unless they're
Sell them
Crocs.
as British sizes. Unless they're Crocs, yes. Yeah. You and your Crocs.
Crocs are all the same.
Yeah. So moving into the hard line for the hardware, where do we start with this?
Yeah. Do you remember the company Siemens, who used to make phones? I don't know, maybe in the early 2000s. I can't quite remember exactly when it was, but I had some Siemens phones and they were really good. Anyway, this week they've appointed a new manager, Stacey Swallows. So we hope that she'll turn things around, I guess, and we'll see some new growth from the firm. And maybe, you never know, Siemens could be back with a bang. We'll see. But we're also getting Google Glass again, aren't we?
We are, yes. I'm really excited about this. They've taken the focus of what they were doing previously, and it's more along the lines of a translatory device where you can look at someone, it'll record and work out what the person with who is maybe speaking in a different dialect to you is saying, and then show you the translation in the glass in front of your face. It's a really nice way to do things and really quite simplistic. It takes the whole controversy of having a portable camera on your face out of it, but I think most of us will probably be over that now because the Snapchat glasses have been out there and drones and all sorts of things. You can't go anywhere without being photographed, so it's not quite as weird and sinister as it was when Google Glass first came out. But these are more sort of a augmented reality glass to display information to you as you walk. Would you have a set of these?
It depends what they look like. Because if they look anything like they've got a camera on them, then the answer would be no, I think.
But they don't have a camera on them.
Right, but they'll have sensors on them. And, they've got to... I don't know. It depends what they look like, and we don't know what they'll look like, so I reserve judgment. The ones that some of the Far East manufacturers are making look really clean. Like you say, those Snapchat ones. And Oppo made a pair, which are really, really clean looking. They just look like normal glasses. But again, the issue for me would be about prescription and being able to get your prescription in the lenses as well. And who's going to make those. I think opticians are quite flexible these days, so perhaps that could work.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I certainly want a pair. I can't say that I'll be using them terribly often, but where you might be sitting down reading something, it might be able to translate something on the screen on the fly. So where we might get a press release from China about a new Poco phone or something like that, you won't have to right-click and hit translate. You can just look at it through your spectacles and it'll translate on the fly, which would be kind of nice. It'd be fun to do.
Definitely.
Or street signs or whatever as you're navigating and things.
Yep.
If you were to, well, I suppose if you go south of the border here, you do get a different language on the signs to what we usually speak up north.
But if that's all they do, then they become travellers' translation glasses. They need to be smarter than that. They need to do more things than that, don't they?
Well, I reckon there'll probably be a range, and I'm hoping that features go in on the range where you can get a version with camera, can get a version with Bluetooth streaming or something like that, or a little pair of headphones, or that kind of thing. So it's all to play for at the moment, and I'm going to stick quite close to this because I love the idea of Google Glass. I was blown away by the previous ones. They just seemed so sci-fi. It was just that's the future, man. Speaking of the future, the Canon EOS R3 is coming, and Ted, I'm guessing you're going to be really quite excited about this.
No. The R3 is already there. They've done an update to the
firmware.
To the firmware, and now that they've changed it by software to enable 195 frames per second shooting, which means you're going to get 20,000 shots in 10 seconds or something, or some ridiculously high figure like that. And yeah, it looks really, really interesting. I remember back to the days when I had my Nikon F3, and when I got a proper motor wind on the back, I mean, it used up the whole roll of film in about 2 seconds. But that sudden, I mean, you must remember this as well from back in the day of, proper photography. Being able to shoot action sequence. I remember going down to a cricket match and setting up my really long lens on the batsman and using this setup and taking some amazing photographs because you got every single frame. Now, in digital photography, we've kind of got used to that, but not to the level of 195 frames a second. Did you used to play with that?
I have done in the past. I remember doing it once when whale watching. I had to try and get some breaching and also, is it ice carving or ice caving, where the ice collapses into the water from a glacier.
Oh, right.
And
yeah.
I was trying to capture that on film, and it was hard work, and I was mostly disappointed because my skills weren't up to snuff. But it's so much easier with digital now. This would be lovely. Yeah. Still there?
Sorry, I just realised that my recorder, my MP3 Skype recorder, had stopped recording, and I can't work out why. Unless it's because you turned on the Skype's own recorder, did you?
No, I didn't. No,
that's really odd.
Actually,
it suddenly stopped working. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's only a backup. The technology issues we have to deal with.
Oh yeah. You've got to keep your eye on the ball and on the prize and on everything else. Yeah.
I've started it again now. So if all goes tits up, you'll get kind of 10 minutes missing.
Don't worry, we didn't say anything particularly exciting there anyway. Yeah. All right, Honor Pad 8. This is a new pad, or tablet, I suppose, from the Huawei's sister company, I suppose, Honor, which has recently separated and become its own thing. This features the Qualcomm Snapdragon 680 processor in there. There are two versions of it, one which will have 4 gigabytes of RAM and the other preferable one will have 6 gigabytes of RAM. It's a 12-inch device, which is pretty big, and it's got a full HD tablet display with a 12,000 by 1200 res, which is kind of an odd res, actually.
2,000 by 1200.
Oh, right, okay. Did I say something else?
I think you said 12,000.
Wow,
it's all right.
That's an odd res.
Carry on.
It should have 128 gigabytes of storage, and it comes in a couple of different colours, sand, blue, and green. There's a 7,250 milliamp hour battery, 5 megapixel cameras, 8 speakers, and DTS-X Ultra.
Yay.
Wi-Fi 5, which is a bit of a disappointing thing, Bluetooth 5.1, and USB Type-C. It should run Android 12, have Android Magic UI 6.1, and it will be compatible with the new Magic Pencil 2. What do you think?
I booed Magic UI, but actually I've never used it, so it's a bit unfair, really. It could well be okay, and nothing like MIUI. The DTS-X Ultra sound with the 8 speakers. 8 speakers?
Yeah.
We're looking at a tablet in a little while, I think, that's got 6 speakers. I thought that was good, but now 8. Yeah, it looks really nice. I've never had a tablet of that kind of size. The biggest tablet I think I've had is 10 inches. And the prices of these are incredibly good. I converted... I know you've got to add tax and all the rest of it, and import duty and blah, blah, blah. But the 17.99 yuan translates at the moment to just over 200 quid. And, that's a really cheap... Even if you slap on, make it 300 quid for that size of tablet with that... reasonable spec level, it could be pretty good. That's certainly the 6 gigabyte RAM model. So, yeah, looks nice. And the Snapdragon 680 is okay. Could be good.
It is, yeah. It does kind of... it does what a lot of other tablets do right now. You've got it's around about the same spec as the Lenovo and the Nokia that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks. Last couple of months, I suppose. So it's nothing really particularly new, aside from it being 12 inches, so it's just that wee bit bigger.
Yeah, it's thin as well.
Yeah, having those speakers is obviously a big plus point, but
Yeah.
I guess it's just trying to target those people who want Netflix
And its price as well.
on the go.
If they push this out, because as we know, the Nokia tablet is under 200 quid, and if they can do something like in that territory with this, you've also got a bigger 12-inch screen, which is, as you say, better for Netflix and consuming media. I like this, and Android 12 out of the box, not to be sniffed at. Others are still producing stuff with Android 11 on. This week I saw something coming out with Android 10 on still. So
wow.
That's really archaic. Anyway, Honor, yes, Honor. Apparently they're in a bit of trouble at the moment with India. I was watching a YouTube video on that. Martin Tech Alter was saying that they're in trouble with the Indian government and they're trying to recoup things over there, but I'm sure they'll come through. But,
oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Hadn't heard about that at all.
Honor,
good. I like Honor. Their phones were always good fun and well priced.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff in them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Nokia is also announcing a new tablet as well, which is not quite as exciting as the one previously. This is the T10. Yeah. This is an 8-inch tablet that comes with some rather miserable specs inside of it, and hopefully a rather
it's a nice size,
rather
though.
cheap. It is 8 inches, which means you get 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage. There is an SD card slot, which does help things there. There's an 8 megapixel camera and a 2 megapixel front-facing camera, an LED flash, Bluetooth 5, Wi-Fi 5, stereo speakers with Ozo. Ozo, yeah. I put that on my armpits earlier, but it didn't seem to work with this heat. The ambient light sensor. There's a proximity sensor as well, which is very exciting. A USB-C 2 port and a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is kind of nice. It's a combo jack as well, actually. A 5,100 milliamp hour battery that supports 10-watt charging. And it looks all right, I suppose. It's in keeping with the T20.
Yeah, we covered this through leaks in the show before, and the news here is that it's actually been announced properly, and we've got all the specs there, as you say. I can see this being a media consumption device for kids and grannies, frankly. I think it's going to, 3 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage just won't matter, because people will be using it as a coffee table thing, a bit like my mum does with her Amazon Fire 7 thingy. And she's annoyed with the fact that it's not proper Android. It's forked off by Amazon. But this kind of device would be just perfect for her. So $169. It's not that much cheaper than the T20, frankly. But there's a niche there, and it's all about the 8-inch tablet. That's the size that matters.
But for some reason they feel that they can knock the specs down so considerably to 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of storage. It's the Unisoc T606 processor. That's not the one that's in the T20, is it?
It's the 616, isn't it, in the T20, I think. But
Yeah.
it's not a million miles away. I think this will be fine for the target audience. I really do. But they've got to price it. I think they've got to price this at, eventually, after the kind of release, they've got to bring it down to about 130 quid or something.
That's 99.
Well, okay, yeah, in ideally 99, and I think.
And then they'll have a new version of it, which they can't call the T20, but maybe the T11 or something coming out in a year's time, which takes it up to the specs that are in the T20.
This would be great for granny and kids. I guarantee you. I think that'll sell quite well if they price it right.
Yeah. There's plenty of other better things. You'll have a miserable experience with this.
Yes.
All right. Next up is there's. I really got into this whenever you first showed it to me, but or stuck it in the show notes. The new Yamaha Concept that turns your smartphone into a turntable.
Yay!
It's a pretty groovy little box that, using an app and a catalogue. You set your phone on and then move the arm out and set it on the screen. Hopefully there's no diamond stylus there. and it'll play the record as you set the arm on the touch screen of your phone.
And the record turns round.
It's a bit bonkers, yeah. And you can change tracks as well, and taking the arm away pauses it.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it.
I do wonder if you were to tap the arm with your finger, would it go zip or make the record scraping sound?
There's nothing in this apart from the box with the tone arm. That's it. There's no speakers. The only thing that must be inside that box is something that talks to the app. That's it.
Wow.
It's a capitalist dream, isn't it? Flog this thing for I don't know how much. Actually, there's no guarantee they're going to sell it. It's a bit of a concept thing. But yeah, flog this for say £100, and you can make a fortune on it. There's another thing as well. Did you see the second one in here?
I did,
which is the kind of wind up, kind of clockwork winder thingy.
The winder, yeah.
And it's just really odd. It's a little block of wood, and it's got a big key on the back, like it's on the back of a grandfather clock, or on the front of a grandfather clock or something. And you wind this thing round, and then you run the app, and this thing just plays a tune. And while it's playing the tune, the key unwinds in front of your eyes, and it's supposed to aid relaxation and all that. And there's some other stuff as well that Yamaha are kind of trying to put out there and decide whether to release or not. There's one called a Rhythm Bot. This quartet of robot metronomes taps out wooden percussion sounds to add some extra oomph to your favourite digital streams. They just seem to be having quite a lot of fun with probably other people's money at Yamaha.
Well, yeah. I do like the winder. I think that's a really nice idea, because it's like an old-fashioned music box.
Yeah.
In that kind of creepy way. What is it, Mad Max 2, where the feral child, Mad Max gives the feral child the wee music box, and it can do that kind of thing, which is that sort of creepy horror music as well.
It only plays one tune, though.
It's connected to the app, though, so I imagine it would. You could download more, couldn't you?
I don't know. It's just it's just a concept at the moment. But yeah, it caught my eye. I thought it looked really interesting.
Yeah. All right, OnePlus are coming with the 10T, which is ditching the famous Alert slider and its Hasselblad partnership. Has Hasselblad moved to a different company? I was thinking.
I think they have, but I can't think who it is. The Alert slider going, though, is really sad. I think that worked really well, and I know it's a Apple rip-off, but even so, OnePlus have been good with that over the years, and people like it. The fans will be really upset about that. Apparently, OnePlus are claiming that in order to keep it in there, it's going to have to make the phone fatter or bigger or something. They need the space that slider and the slider mechanism takes up in order to keep the thing small enough. Which it sounds just like claptrap to me. I think they're going to lose lots of fans by doing this. And as for the Hasselblad partnership, well, it was a load of rubbish anyway. Frankly, wasn't it? It didn't really mean anything much. It was just a badging exercise, and someone makes the camera and then runs it past some secretary at Hasselblad and said, "Could you put your stamp on this, please?" "Yeah, okay then. Here's £1 million. We put your name on our phones from now on."
And I wonder if you were to line up 10 people on High Street today and said, "Have you heard of Hasselblad?" Maybe 9 of them might say no.
Exactly. And Nokia have done the same as well. With Zeiss, they've ended their thing with Zeiss, so those whole partnership thingies seem to be going to the wall a bit.
Well, I wonder what these companies are going to do.
Go their own way. Sony. Oh, that's so. I think Hasselblad are hooking up with Sony.
I was going to say that, but then it sounded a wee bit wrong, because Sony you would expect to see Sony optics on a piece of hardware.
Yeah, you do, and they do sell that out. But they probably think that we'll do even better if we say, "Here's your latest Samsung phone with Sony optics, tuned by Hasselblad," or whatever it is.
Right. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Although the OnePlus are using the 50 megapixel Sony IMX766 as its primary sensor, not tuned by Hasselblad.
No, but perhaps it will be. I think tuned is the
by
wrong.
Sony.
I think tuned is the wrong word, isn't it? Tweaked.
Tinkered with.
Tinkered with. Yes. Oh dear.
Yeah. Another new phone that we'll be getting is the Motorola Razr 2022, which they showed this off. I think I saw a picture of it earlier in the week.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
They've done loads of leaks on this, and they've got an event on the 2nd of August. What day is it now? The 31st. So that's on Tuesday, is it? Yeah,
oh dear.
Tuesday the 2nd. And they're going to, put it all out there. But yeah, there's been so many leaks, and it looks really nice, I have to say. They've taken away that picture you're looking at there on the link in the show notes is not it. That's the old one. It's got a whacking great big chin on it. The new one has not got a chin, and it's much more sleek and sexy. And the outside screen on it is much bigger and much more clever. And the battery's bigger, apparently. I really fancy it. I know that it's going to be out of my price range. And I won't be able to afford one, but it'll be I think this will be the real Flip 4 challenger as we go forward for Samsung.
Yeah, I'd like to see this Sony, if they announce this and push it out, they'll do some sort of nice big trade-in scheme or something to try and get people to dump their Samsungs and move over to this. Because I'm looking through some of just on Google images, the new 22 looks really nice. It's lost the button down at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I reckon that this could be it. This could be the one that people are going to want to go out and get. Also
on the same event on Tuesday, they're going to be announcing the X30 Pro, which is after the Edge Plus, my beloved Edge Plus here. That's going to be the next proper flagship, apparently, according to all the leaks so far. It's going to be serious flagship, everything and the kitchen sink thrown in, top, most recent, everything. And this is going to be Motorola heading back into the £1,000 plus territory again. So yeah, I shall be tuned in on Tuesday to watch this for sure. I don't normally watch these releases much, but I will with that one because I like Motorola. Have you noticed?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that in the past. I'm quite interested in the idea that it's got a kitchen sink in it as well. It's tuned by Armitage Shanks. Oh, no, they make toilets, don't they?
Yes.
Maybe they make sinks too. Yeah. All right, the next up is India's smartphone market. So there's a 5-way fight that's happening here, and there's 5 big names that are sort of dominating the India market. And they're a wee bit different to ours, which is kind of refreshing, I suppose. Ted, what can you tell us about this analysis?
Well, I can tell you first, though, is Honor is not in there at all.
Wow, okay.
They've fallen out with the Indian market, so I don't know what's happening with Honor. You'll have to watch that space and see what happens. They're in court at the moment, I think, and arguing about money laundering and all sorts. But anyway, it's obvious in India that unlike the kind of American market and the Western market, where presumably they think people have got much more money, it's all kind of coming down to the Chinese firms who are pushing these phones out at next to nothing and just selling them in shed loads. Xiaomi are top, Samsung are second, Realme, Vivo and Oppo bringing up the rear. And those are the top 5 in India, because presumably they think that people in India... I mean, there must be wealthy people in India, but probably not the percentage of people...
I'm sure there are.
Not the percentage of people per population, probably, as they think there is in the West, which might be a fair observation. But, they've targeted it, haven't they? So much so that you get these phones, like Vivos, for example, that we never see. They're just made out of China to go to India, and now they're starting to have actual factories making them in India as well. So it's an interesting market to watch, to see what happens. Apparently, according to Martin again, I was watching the Tech Alter YouTube video last night, actually, which is why it's freshly in my mind. He was saying that all of these brands coming out of China are doing really badly, and that he showed a graph where it showed that their level of sales, all of these companies, are back down to 2012 levels. They peaked somewhere between then and now, but actually they're not doing as well as one might think they are. They're pushing these phones out really, really cheap, but actually losing money almost on the whole thing. And it'll be interesting to see where it goes. But yeah, did you analyse anything else from that?
Well, your comments about the people's wealth entering into the brands that succeed, I never really quite agreed with that, because I think, looking at the UK market, I have worked in a job centre. I worked in a job centre for many years, and I got to see people coming in, and they would always put say an iPhone, the latest iPhone, down on the desk, and it was a bit of a stigma of, you're on benefits, but you can afford an iPhone, and you're here telling us that you're suffering poverty. That's a hard thing for anywhere to stomach. I know that there's a whole argument about that, 2-year contracts and things like that. Yeah. People fall on hard times and they can still have remnants of a life that they had before, all that kind of stuff. I know it's all on different basis, but the brands find a way to be able to sell people the most expensive gadgetry at a reasonable price that they can afford, and they will find a way to afford it if they want it that much. So, I looking at India, I can just imagine that kind of social structure still works whenever it comes to selling a brand to anyone on the street if they have a source of income. So I think that we can't really relate brand to wealth.
Okay.
Everyone will go and get it no matter what. And also, you see Samsung on there. They've got all kinds of different variations available to people. So they've got the top end and they've got the lower end as well. So they can sell anything to anyone.
So why isn't Apple in there then? Following your logic.
Well, maybe they just don't like Apple. Maybe Indian people from India are sensible people. Sorry, Apple fans. I'm just joking. That is an interesting one. But then,
there's got to be a wealth equation at some point, I think. And I don't know. I don't want to speak badly about anyone from any given company or country, or their potential for buying things. But yeah, there are ways of buying stuff. And I mean, these are all.
It could be down to some services as well. Like, maybe some of Apple's services aren't fully available in India that we take for granted here, where someone who buys an iPhone here gets everything that Apple puts out. If you have a look at some of the Google services, like if you were to subscribe to Google One in the UK, you get nowhere near as much as what you would get over in America.
Okay.
And only fools like myself subscribe to Google One here because, you want some of them and you're prepared to pay slightly more than what the Americans pay to get a lesser service. So perhaps India has their head screwed on a wee bit more and they go for better value phones they go for phones that have better tailored services to the needs that they have.
It's also probably to do with marketing because, as I say, those Chinese firms have just hit India. So everywhere you turn in India, presumably, there's adverts everywhere, all over the telly. Wherever you turn, there's going to be saying the Chinese firms pushing their phones on the public. So there is that as well.
Yeah. And there are some of them are quite aggressive as well. Oppo, Vivo, and Realme can be very aggressive. I know Oppo are really pushing to break into the UK market, and it's certainly working.
Yeah, definitely. And they're doing a good job. I like Oppo phones.
Yes, me too. Oppo too. Right. One company that we can't say is doing particularly well in the UK is Huawei. Huawei have the MatePad Pro 11, which has been unveiled, which is a really nice looking tablet that doesn't run Android. It runs their Harmony OS, which is, I guess I've never used it, to be honest, but it's one sort of big notch down from Android for us to be able to be excited about it. This is an 11-inch OLED display device with a res of 2560 by 1600 with 120 hertz refresh rate. It's got a 8 gigabytes or 12 gigabytes of RAM, various storage options from 128, 256 and 512 gigabytes. There's a Snapdragon 888 processor in there, but there is an option for a Snapdragon 870 as well if you want that. So maybe the 8 gigabyte version has an 870 and then the 12 gigabyte version has an 888 or something like that. Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.2, USB Type-C 3.1 port, and it weighs just 449 grams. It's gorgeous looking, this, and it has a pretty interesting detachable keyboard that you can set the tablet on the table and then sit back with the keyboard on your lap and type away. A bit like a Surface, Microsoft Surface, but you can disconnect the keyboard and continue to use it feet away from the tablet itself. Ted, what do you think about this?
Firstly, I just wanted to correct you on Harmony OS not being Android. They went to great lengths to say that
yes, that's right. Sorry.
It is based on Android, and it's their fork of it, much like Amazon forked out. What it doesn't have is GMS, of course.
That's right.
You can't get
That's
any of the
what I meant.
Google services, yeah. But apart from, it looks really, really nice. Is this the one that had the 6 speakers? I was trying to scan through. Maybe it's not this one.
It does 6 speakers with 4 woofers and 2 tweeters,
right.
enhanced by Huawei Sound audio controller and 4 microphones.
Oh yeah, well done. 6 speakers, that's right. And when I saw that earlier, I thought to myself, "Oh, that's fantastic." And then I saw the one previously with 8 speakers, and I thought, "Oh, that's even better." But yeah, you're right. This looks really, really classy. It also comes with possibly the M Pencil, or is that extra? I'm not sure if the keyboard and pencil come with it. If it did, and they're knocking this out for what looks like about 500 quid when it arrives in the West, then that could be quite a compelling argument. However, you do have that aforementioned issue. Harmony OS 3, which is what this is coming with, maybe with a tablet you could learn to live. It depends what you want to use it for, doesn't it? How many of us are going to, throw ourselves into using Harmony OS and Huawei services and just not bother with Google services? I don't know. Maybe this will never arrive in the West because they figure that only Chinese people will actually want to do this. Don't know.
Yeah, which I suppose is kind of a shame, even if there was a way that, somewhere like XDA developers were to build a ROM that you could stick on there.
Yeah.
But then you're reliant on them updating that ROM and things like that. So, yeah, it's a hard one to sell, but it just covers all the boxes. But Harmony OS is just that one that you can't tick.
Well, somebody, I was reading recently that someone was saying that Harmony OS is actually okay. It's really done well. They've worked hard on their apps. I think the example they were using was Maps, and they were saying you don't need Google Maps because the one that Harmony OS has done is really, really very good. It may not be as good, but it's up there, and that Huawei are working really hard to make this a thing. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should get a Harmony OS device in between us and see what we can do with it. And as you say, whether you can still, inverted commas, jailbreak it or not and do something else with it.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead. We'll use your card. Right. So also there's a little battery that they're looking to push out there that's not made by Huawei. That we're moving on to an entirely different topic. I should maybe say that from the start. Next up on the news, Blue Yeti. The AC500 has arrived, and it's pretty big. This is a large power system for powering your camping needs.
Your house.
Basically, yeah.
Your
it's a massive. 3,000 watt MPPT solar charging thing with a 5,000 AC charging thing with 8,000 watts of AC PV dual charging stuff. Ted, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, we need a mathematician. We need Steve here to actually interpret some of these figures. 5,000 watt inverter, 10,000 watt surge. Capacity of 18,432 watt hours. Well, how does that equate into milliamp hours? I don't know. How many times could you charge your 5,000 milliamp hour phone with this thing? I think one of the interesting things that they've said about this whacking great big thing is that it's quite flexible in the ways in which you can charge it up. One of the ways, I think it says 9 ways, doesn't it? There's a list of them here somewhere. You can charge it. Oh, here we go. You can charge it by AC, so solar generator, lead acid battery, dual or triple charging, blah blah blah, and solar panels are the one that they're trying to push out mostly. But yeah, I mean, if you lived in Tunisia or something and you had sun all day, it'd be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? But I don't know. We need some interpretation on this. It's obviously a whacking great beast of a thing, and they're talking about keeping your household going for days, if not weeks, once it's charged. So it must be huge, and plugging in, all of your appliances to it. Amazing.
Well, there's two pieces to this, and both of them are quite sizable. There is a picture of a gentleman stowing them in the back of his 4x4, whether it's I don't think it is a Land Rover. It might be I don't know what exactly model of vehicle that is, but it does seem to occupy the largest portion of the boot, or the trunk, as they call it in America. And if you were to take this camping, you probably wouldn't have enough space for your snacks and your tent. You'd just be going away with your big battery for the weekend to spend some time together.
I think that people that are going to use these sorts of things are going to be people like are running road shows, or people that are running discos or party setups, or I don't know, something
outside weddings.
Yeah, outside weddings, exactly. Yeah, I think that's the kind of. I don't think anyone really is going to be trying to power their house with it. But I don't know. I mean, if you lived in the outback of somewhere, one of our listeners actually lives in America somewhere, and is very frequently saying that we get power outages all the time. And if you have one of these, you charge it up with the grid. Forget about solar. Charge it up with the grid while the power's on, and when it's off, you've got days on end of being able to do things relatively normally. I think that was Kurt Kaufman. I could be wrong, but anyway, there are people where you could actually make a difference with this. Or if you lived in the middle of nowhere, if you chose to live in a shack somewhere in the middle of Uganda, you could then still keep your fridge on.
But then keeping this charged up for weeks on end, and then eventually it comes to the time that you need to use it. Is that good enough for the battery? We always hear about how you shouldn't leave your device charged, or you should maybe if you're not using a battery, you should leave it at 50% to allow it to expand and retract and things like that in heat, depending on the climate and things like that. I'd be really nervous about spending all this money, and then you end up buggering up the battery because you've left it for 6 months with half charge in it or something like that, or fully charged, anticipating a blackout, and it doesn't actually come. And whenever you do go to put it in, you end up blowing up your children. Well, maybe not that much.
Talking of money, how much is it? Have you found a price?
No.
I've just clicked through.
I'm guessing it's not going to be under 100 quid on Amazon or anything. Buy in 5.
Let's see. Actually, they're linking to Prime Day.
Oh, really?
So portable power. There's no prices anywhere. Support About Us. Bluety Bucks. No, I can't find it. Carry on. I'll keep looking.
I'm just throwing it into Google Shopping here to see if I can find it. There's similar models, but the other Bluety AC200 Max, which is about £500. Oh, is that it there? The AC3? No, it's the AC500.
That's it, yeah, the AC500.
I can only get up to the 300. The 300 is currently £3,900.
Right. Well, that's the kind of price I'd have expected anyway. So, yeah. So we're talking probably 3, 4, 5 grand for this whole for this setup, probably.
But it would be heart-wrenching if you were to have it all charged up, ready to go, and you didn't get to use it, and whenever you did get to use it, the battery was knackered or something, or you hadn't used it properly.
Yeah, as I say, I think it's probably more likely to be used for commercial routes instead of seriously. But you don't know. Over time, things may change. If we start getting power cuts worldwide, this kind of thing will be really useful for those that can't read old-fashioned books.
Yeah, and I suppose it was in the newspaper, I think it was yesterday, was it? Mr. Who's the Boss was in the Daily Mail because 3 of his Samsung phones had swollen and breached their casing. I think the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus was one of them. I can't remember what the others were, but I happened to notice that whenever I was running along the coast, it popped up as a news article. So the intense heat caused that, and that could happen to something like this, which would be on a more nuclear scale, possibly, for a reaction.
Yeah, well, there you go then. If you've got plenty of money, go for it.
Quite right. Ted, where's that credit card? You can go and do that too. So that's a phone and a Huawei Harmony device and one of these. That's what we need you to buy for next week. Okay, the Xiaomi Smart Home Screen 6 has launched, and this is a little Google Home type thing that controls your house. It's voice activated and connects to up to 3,000 devices. They said gadgets around the house that can power your or control your smart lights and adjust brightnesses, open curtains, and turn plugs on in various different places around your house.
$52?
$52, yeah,
no.
That's a lot cheaper than Google's options.
It's a lot cheaper than that power monster we just spoke about too.
It is, but it's slightly different. This runs through the Xiao AI voice command application that you can download and connect to cameras and all sorts of things, and do video calls and facial recognition and all that.
That's really cheap,
on the device.
Wow.
You're going to get one of these too?
They're obviously challenging, Google Home on this, aren't they? Oh no, they're using Google Home and challenging Alexa and all the rest of it. But $52. I mean, even if that ends up being 99 quid, it's a nice looking device, and it's Xiaomi, which is.
Did you see it say it uses Google Home?
Yeah. Doesn't it use Google Home as well as their own thing?
I didn't notice that at all. I was looking to see if it was.
It supports the MIUI. Oh, not MIUI again. It supports the MIUI home system, allowing you to blah blah blah. I assumed it was running the main. Perhaps it doesn't. Yeah. Perhaps you're right. Perhaps it doesn't use Google Home at all. I'll shut up and sit in the corner. You carry on.
No, I had a quick read through it earlier. Maybe I skipped over it and you picked it out. But I was thinking that this would be kind of a cool thing to have on the doorway as you walk into your house, and then you can just tell it to do stuff to set up your house for the evening once you're home from work. But if it doesn't use Google Home, then I'm not interested in it. But now you've spurred my I'm interested in it.
Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just doesn't, and it does their own system, because there's no mention of Google Home. So I don't know.
All right. Well, before we embarrass ourselves anymore, we'll move on to the next topic, which is something close to my heart.
Okay.
What Hi-Fi has done a little bit of an article over on their website about DVD and Blu-ray sales falling. Now, it is notable that there is a bit of repair work going on here, because Blu-ray and DVD sales have fallen, but then there's a whole new element to be added in there as well. The 4K UHD has risen. Its share has increased to 13.4%, but in all, disc sales are still falling, unfortunately due to streaming sources as well, which is a bit of a pain, because I'm a big advocate for keeping your media close to you and having a nice big media collection. However, I would say that the fact that it's falling might be that people are approaching it, as I do, from a more mature point of view. But years ago, I used to just blind buy videos, video cassettes, VHSs, and then DVDs as well. I'd be in the shop and go, oh, there's that, I'll grab that. It's only £4, I've never seen it. And I would keep it in my collection and maybe never watch it. Whereas now my Blu-ray collection and Ultra HD collection is cherry-picked because A, they're expensive, and B, I don't want to have a huge library of stuff that I'm not familiar with entirely. I don't blind buy. So while there are some that I haven't seen, I still have a very carefully selected collection in my man cave here. So I'm thinking that that's what a lot of other people do as well, where if they see something that is particularly of interest to them, then they will go out and get that, and they don't just grab something off a shelf like you used to do in Woolworths and go, I fancy having that, I've never seen that, and it's quite cheap, and I'll grab it, take it home and watch it at some point, and then maybe never get around to doing it, but it just sits on a shelf for a long time. And I reckon that's the way a lot of people do, because it's so much easier to go onto streaming and find something there and test the water with that, and then only buy it if it's something that you genuinely want to keep. And I think that might be why Blu-ray sales, or disc sales in general, are falling, because we can go and test the waters first rather than actually do the blind purchasing thing. So disc sales may be in a good state, but then the prices are going up to ward off people from blind buying. Do you agree, Ted?
Yeah, I think you're probably right. The supply and demand comes into it, doesn't it? So as all the things you've just been talking about happen, prices go up because they're not selling so many, and the further sales go down, the higher the prices go, which is exactly what happened about 10 years ago with vinyl, when I started to buy records again and replaced my whole thing, and they were really, really expensive to begin with. They have changed a bit now, and there is, you can buy LPs for bargain basement prices to some degree, but that's because the demand is going up and there's more people doing it. Still not anything like the amount of people that are streaming audio, but it's going up again. And as that, if the same thing happens and it starts to shrink again, then I expect LP prices to go up in the same way as your Blu-rays have, and optical discs do. So yeah, it's the way of the world, isn't it? It's back to capitalism again. If you're in business, you would be having to price things to stay in business, and that might mean individual items are more expensive.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt. A perfect example, quite recently I picked up Escape from LA on 4K UHD, because I have Escape from New York on the same platform, or the same medium. And this came out, and I initially saw it and thought, oh wow, they're doing a really nice big collector's edition of it, because it was £35 for the disc. It's like, wow, that's going to have some exceptional extras with it, but it didn't. I think it had a couple of stickers and a badge or something like that included in the box, and they were trying to charge £35 for it on release. It turns out there was audio issues with it and things like that, but that kind of overtook the news. But it arrived. Some folk had probably pre-ordered it because they're a fan of that movie. Not many people are fans of that movie because it's not a great movie. But I would like to have it in beside Escape from New York, because I'm a completionist. Isn't that the word? Completionist? Yeah. Yes. So I sat on the fence wondering what to do, and I noticed that all of a sudden it dropped down to £20 a couple of weeks later, and I was like, wow, right, okay, this would be a pretty good time to pick it up. And I thought, I'll order it when I get home. And by the time I'd gotten home, it was down to £15. I was like, wow, okay, I'll grab it now before they sell out or something like that. So it arrived at £35, and a couple of weeks later it was down to £15, which is a more recommendable price for a new 4K UHD with nothing really in the way of extras, save for a few bits of tat in the box. And now it's here. And yes, I'm suffering the sound problems on the 5.1 surround sound. But they do free disc replacement. I'm just waiting for the disc to arrive. Well, re-returned. So yeah, they are creating a bit of a problem in that the prices are getting astronomically high. I saw there was the old Doctor Who movie, the Peter Cushing one, was released on Blu-ray or 4K HD quite recently with a ton of extras and things like that. But there's 2 movies in that series, and each of them were $49.99 with all their extras and things like that. They're beautiful box sets and stuff like that, but £50 for each movie is extreme.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Compared to where you're in Woolworth and having to see something over there for £4 and go, oh, I'll maybe watch that tonight.
Yeah.
You know, it's and they're limited editions, so that you do feel a bit of pressure. Like, if I don't buy this now, I'll probably not be able to buy it in the future, or it'll end up on eBay for £200.
Yeah, there's a parallel going through my mind at the moment. On Amazon, I pre-ordered the Animals album, Pink Floyd Animals, which is being released in September. And if you order it now, you get the release price guaranteed, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really want this? How often am I going to actually use this? But going by your mentality, it doesn't really matter that much. It's the having it that matters. It's the collection bit, the completist, as you said earlier. And I think I've got all the other Pink Floyd stuff. This is a new release on, remastered, blah blah blah, and all the rest of it. Lovely gatefold album cover, lyrics, history, book, the whole lot. And you think, yeah, I really want that. But yeah. It's if I don't buy it now, the point was that and I've seen this with other LPs, special releases. Suddenly it's £50, and you think, I really wish I'd have got it back then when it was on pre. Let's see how much it is now. Oh no, you carry on with your story.
Oh no, I do it all the time. Beside me, I have a copy of The Grand Jewel, which is an Arrow release, and I missed it when it first came out, but I picked it up off eBay, and I didn't pay particularly over the recommended resale price when it first arrived. But after I bought it, I suddenly noticed that Amazon had found another stock of it, and it was back in at 99p more than what I got for it second hand, because it's been out of print apparently for a while. But then all of a sudden, it's back in print, and then Amazon add to that as well. I was looking down my wish list, or my basket of things that I've saved for later, and I noticed there was a bunch of the Blu-rays that I have been wanting for a while, and they're all saying only 2 left in stock. Order now. I'm like, that's putting pressure on me. Yeah. If I don't buy it now, I'm not going to be able to buy it ever. Oh.
Yeah. I've just looked up the Pink Floyd Animals thing, and it's now $22.99, right? When I ordered it, it was $21.99. It's now £1 more. I thought that they guaranteed the price of when you ordered it, but it would appear not, maybe, that it's gone up, and so I'm going to end up paying what the release price is rather than the order price. So maybe there's not an advantage. Anyway, it was a parallel story, that was all.
Well, yeah, no, it's a hard thing to be able to go out and buy these things and know whether or not you're making a good investment or not, or if you're going to get the best value for money, because as soon as you do buy it, if it doesn't sell out immediately, if it's a limited run, then you're going to see it drop in price anyway. And I've done that in the past. I think it was the Tremors box set. I grabbed that when it was coming out, and it was a wee bit more expensive than I was comfortable paying. But then I thought, it's Tremors, it's going to sell out immediately. But no, 3 weeks later, or maybe 3 months later actually, it was on sale for something like £20, and I was like, oh, flipping heck, I paid $40 for it.
Yeah, it was a gamble, wasn't
because it didn't sell out.
Yeah.
But sure shit, if I had have not bought it, it would have sold out and been something that I would have been admiring from afar, watching eBay.
The world is out to get you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. So, tell us about this crazy contraption that can recover photographs from a broken micro SD card.
Yeah, the interesting bit here is the contraption. Obviously, there's a link in the show notes to a video over at DP Review, and it just looks really, really wild and mad and interesting. They've got this contraption, which obviously there's about, I don't know, 25 connections that go out presumably to a computer somewhere, and they've got a micro SD card in the middle, and each of the pins that come through each of the connections go across into the middle, like some scene out of A Clockwork Orange on Eyes, and each one goes to a different part of the chip, which then can talk to the right department back on the software on the computer, I guess. And they've been able to recover data from these micro SD cards by clever means in software. But the interesting bit is just looking at this contraption they used to do this. It just looks like, as I say, the first thing it reminded me of was A Clockwork Orange, a really strange looking thing with all these arms coming out and prodding in. And that was it, really. It was only a quick one. Did you watch the video?
I did, yeah. I think it's a fantastic way to do it, but it's got to be so complicated to have worked out that people could do that. I imagine the feds or something like that have these at the ready so that they can get stuff that people have tried to destroy. But obviously, I don't think this works for water damage or something like that. Maybe that would cause problems. But yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
absolutely
good
great.
fun.
Yeah, cool. All right, moving into Flap Your Trap about an app. We're an hour and 15 minutes into the show, so good call. Windows 11 is getting some new features in their latest build, which is 251.6.3. Ted, what can you expect for this build?
The main one is, and one that's annoyed me from the start with Windows 11, is the taskbar overflow thingy. And you can't, whatever you do to tell the stupid settings that you want to see all of your icons in the taskbar, it doesn't let you. The next time you turn on your computer, randomly they've gone back and the toggles have been thrown back off. And you've got to go back and do it again. Really annoying. I'm using a Windows 10 computer now, and they're all there, beautifully arrayed. I can see them all, and they're all there in my vision. Great. I want to see what's going on. But no, Windows 11 have screwed that. Anyway, apparently this new build, they're going to be bringing back the way that Windows 10 does it. So great. And the other story is Windows 12 may be coming to there seems to be some huge confusion about whether what Microsoft are doing with Windows. So the initial thing was that they were going to stick with Windows 11 and add builds to it for some time to come. But now there's talk about them going back to doing a new version of Windows every 3 years. And Windows 12, 3 years after Windows 11, will be 2024. And those that are in the know seem to be thinking that we might be in for that. There might be a whole new version of Windows coming along before you can say Jack Robinson. And who knows what that'll bring. I mean, we're already in a situation where I've got two computers, that I can't put Windows 11 on. We've been through that, you and I. We've tried really hard, and you just can't do it without changing all the component internals and spending a fortune. What's going to happen with Windows 12? Does that mean they're going to change something about that? So yeah, taskbar overflow and Windows 12. What are they doing?
Yeah, see, there was talk about how Windows 11 is going to have a what is it? I can't remember the terminology that they use, but essentially locking down your hardware in such a way that you can't actually install another operating system on it. So if you decide to up sticks and leave Microsoft altogether, you might not be able to actually install Linux.
Right.
Because Linux is getting to a point where it's almost as good as Windows. You know, it's almost as easy to use as Windows, and it's got viable alternatives for everything. So people will be able to move to Linux and have less of a translation problem from one operating system to the other. And I think Microsoft are a bit worried about that, because Windows is still quite bloated and things can run somewhat problematically. But people stick with Windows because A, Steam is a big thing, and B, some creative applications are still better on Windows than maybe in Linux, debatably. Whereas once that's kind of sorted and maybe SteamOS becomes fully native to Linux, then a large amount of the gamers will be able to move over to Linux because they'll be getting maybe better out of their hardware. So there was word that something about the kernel and things like that, or the signatures, I think, for the chips that are in your motherboard or your processor would be locked to Windows, and Windows would be storing the keys not on your system but actually on the cloud, which means whenever you try to install Linux, you won't be able to access those keys to unlock the chips.
Good grief. But maybe that's what Windows 12 is about then. Perhaps what they decided, yeah. Right, that's it. We're cutting out Linux from 2024.
Well, yeah, it does mean that you'll have trouble if you buy your hardware. Windows will claim ownership of it and essentially kill it before you can do anything with it. But I'm having a quick look at the taskbar here in the display, and I'm noticing that they have the centralized taskbar icons in the example picture in the article, and then over on the very left, not the right, the left, they have a weather icon with sunny and a picture of the sun,
yeah,
and 82 degrees Fahrenheit. I know that I can do that on my work computer, but I have it over to the right, beside the clock and things like that.
Yeah, you can move it.
But I can't actually turn it on at all.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not seeing an option for it. I'm going through the menus whilst I'm gibbering, and I can't see.
I haven't got Windows 11 in front of me, I'm afraid. I can't. I'll have a look at it on my laptop, though, if you want to.
Oh, wait, no, I've got it. Widgets.
Okay.
Right, okay. Oh, God, it's that thing. Right, okay, never mind. Turn that off and just forget about it. Never mind. We'll move on.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm annoyed by this taskbar thingy, the icons, and it's screwed up at the moment. So anyway, there you go.
All right. Well, one thing that isn't screwed up, and it's being progressively unscrewed, is Amazon Prime Video, which is getting a much appreciated redesign, and it's going to look a lot more like Netflix. And over in Android Police, they have an article which sort of gives you a demonstrationary video of what the Prime Video experience is going to be like. But I did notice that in the description, or the article, they had written that the interface redesign took 18 months to complete, which is insane. And by comparison, James Webb Space Telescope took off on, the 21st of December, 2021, and it took 6 months to get into position and run all its tests and become operational back in July there. And that was only a third of how long it took for Amazon to get their new interface together. Wow.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I was just looking on my phone to see if I'd yet got this new design of Amazon Prime Video, and I did check yesterday. No is the answer. I haven't seen it at all anywhere. It does look nice. It looks much better, but I haven't seen it on my Roku, my phone, my tablet, anywhere yet. So presumably it's coming.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
I'm having a quick check. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Amazon Prime updated yesterday.
Ah.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Have you got it?
I do.
Blimey. What's most so special about you?
It looks like Netflix. Well, I'm glad of that, because it took me forever to get the Netflix update that had games was laughs or whatever in it, and you were parading that every week when we were doing this, and talking about how great you were. So I got the Amazon Prime one. Oh wow, it's got a "Don't Tell Ted About This" section. Flippin' heck. Gosh.
Oh, look, I've got the new Play Store icon as well. That's the first time I've seen that.
I just noticed that too.
Redone the Play Store icon. But that's a small amount of... there's a recommended thing here for Prime Video. No, I haven't got it yet. So tell us all about it. Does it look just like the Netflix one?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Down at the bottom you have home, find, downloads, and my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got home, TV, movies, kids, and sports up at the top. And you just have lines of icons that you scroll across just like Netflix. There's nothing really too wowy to report upcoming live events. Yeah, okay. Now, yeah, it's the same. Great.
Right. Okay then. Perhaps it's not worth waiting for then. I do find the interface of Amazon Prime Video confusing and
Yes.
a bit rubbish, where you've got these kind of rows of scrollable thingies. Continue watching, and then they don't tell you which is included with Prime unless you very small text in blue above each line. It will just give you that popular movies, historical TV. Mind you, Netflix is not much better in that respect. The classification is not. Anyway, we'll wait. Perhaps we'll report on that next week and see if we both got it then.
No, I actually like going into Google TV, which has the same interface again. But as you scroll down, it tends to sort of lump together collections and put them in a way that might attract you to clicking on them.
Right.
And scrolling down, you get sci-fi films, westerns, and then films about terrorism. It's just weird collections that they put together.
Right.
Cop movies starring Ray Liotta.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It is more targeted toward me because that's stuff that I've been looking for. But it's just weird genres that kind of stand out. Films about terrorism. That's not a genre, really. It's just, and people don't sort of go, I'd like to sit down tonight and I'd like to watch a film about terrorism. I wish Google would bring me something like that.
Yeah, I haven't looked at this for a while, Google TV on my phone, and it's actually quite nice, the interface. But the trouble with that is you've got to pay as you go or whatever. They don't. It's not a streaming service as such, not like Netflix. Come on, Google, for goodness sake.
And it's still absolute garbage. It separates TV shows. So if you buy the box set of, like, I bought the entire Futurama, and if I want to go and watch season 5, episode 12, it'll say purchase this. No, I bought it, and then you have to go in and you have to go to the complete set, and then scroll all the way down to season 5, and it doesn't download it doesn't smart download or binge watch the next episode. Where if you watch an episode, it doesn't delete that, then download the next episode in the series.
I remember having that with Blackadder. It was really annoying that they wouldn't hook you up with, because you'd gone into the wrong one. It didn't acknowledge that you'd already bought the box set. Yeah. I do agree. Have you?
And it's putting me off buying things off Google TV as well, because sometimes I feel like I'm buying the wrong thing. Yeah. Like the Godfather trilogy is $12.99 on Google TV at the moment, which is worth purchasing. But I don't know that I'm going to be happy purchasing it, because anytime I go, right, I'm going to watch The Godfather Part 2, I'm going to have to go and find the edition that I bought. And you could end up having to, go through a couple that say, hey, purchase this for $12.99. No, go back out. Did I buy this one? No. Did I buy this one? Ah, there it is. Just a bit of an annoyance.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm with you on that. They need to shake it up a bit, don't they?
They need a librarian in to sort things.
Indeed.
Indeedy do that. Okay, Netflix are going to be doing a new cheaper plan, or at least they're going to be rejigging their current cheaper plan. I had to read through this and I wasn't quite sure if it's going to be a new plan or they're just going to redevelop the one that they've got, to have A, advertising, and B, certain content will be annexed from it. So essentially they're going to be doing tiers where you can, I think they mentioned that it was going to be third-party licenses. So perhaps the cheaper tier is going to have all the Netflix stuff. And then if you have one of the more expensive tiers, you'll be able to access some of the movies that they bring in. Like, say, for example, they were to buy in The Fugitive for 6 months. You'll be able to get that if you're on one of the more expensive tiers. And and the cheaper tier will have ads and only the Netflix stuff. But that brings about it the whole idea that perhaps whenever something like The Irishman was to arrive in the future, they'll only put it out on the more expensive ones, and then eventually the cheaper ones will get it maybe in 6 months' time. You know, they're looking at the ways that they can reinvigorate the subscription model on Netflix, and I don't think it's entirely clear what we're getting at the moment. Ted, you have the basics.
Yeah, I do, and the reason is apparently because they are, the subscribers are leaving in their droves, and they're trying to attract them back. Now we know that Amazon Prime Video did this. What's it called? Free V. I think it's called Free V. Which we spoke about on Projector Room, which is our other podcast, folks. Do go and tune into that one. And that's going to introduce ads. And at the moment, if you've got a Prime Video thingy, you can go and there's a row of those titles that says you can watch these, but you have to sit through ads. So you're right; they've put certain titles only available in that section. So even if you're a Prime subscriber, you still have to, if you want to watch those particular titles, you still got to sit through adverts, which is really annoying. And Netflix, I think they're jumping onto the same bandwagon, aren't they? They're saying, you can do this. They're talking about, as you say, I've got the basic subscription for $5.99. They're talking about charging £2 on top of that if you want to have more than one user. But they'll allow you 2 weeks of leeway for people that go on holiday or something. Otherwise, you pay $10.99 for the standard, and presumably when they roll this out, the with ads version is going to be something less than $5.99. I don't know. Oh no, it's going up, isn't it? Oh yeah, it's $6.99 now. So maybe it's $4.99 for the with ads one or less. I don't know. It's all a bit of a mess, really, isn't it? The bottom line for me is that I am not going to pay someone to then sit through adverts while I'm in the middle of a film, whatever it is. I just rather not watch it. I find some other way to do it.
What if the ad is reserved entirely to prior to the film? Like you're at the cinema.
Which it is now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because if you run a thing, well, you can skip through it. But, just like buying a DVD, sometimes you can't get rid of those pre-running adverts for other shows and things. But, I don't know. Maybe if it was before the thing started, you'd give it a bit more leeway. This is why I won't use all 4. All 4 is just really, really annoying because you can't get past the adverts. And there's no way to pay Channel 4 to do that. If they said, right, pay us $2.99 a month and we'll take the adverts away, I would do it. But there isn't a way of doing that. A bit like these games on the Play Store, which we keep coming back to, that you can't pay to own them. They want you to be giving them an amount of money every month. Similar kind of thing. I'm waffling now. Your turn.
Oh no, you're okay. I think the BBC is the best example of this, and I do tend to defend the BBC because having lived in America, and being advertised at very harshly, I felt, because I'm not used to that, and then coming back and sitting down in front of the BBC and being able to enjoy an hour's worth of television show without an ad break every 15 or 17 minutes, or a ticker tape coming along the bottom advertising bits and pieces, or something popping up and saying, coming next, while you're trying to watch the final few minutes of a TV show. I really do appreciate the BBC for just being uninterrupted content. Yeah. It's a bit of a shame that the BBC are the way they are, but it's a good model that I think we need more of. Amazon Prime was kind of that way, and you felt that, but then you had adverts appearing at the start of it, advertising some of their own shows, which was a wee bit annoying. And now the app is somewhat pushy about, showing you content that you can buy outside of stuff that you're already paying for, which you don't want.
Don't forget though that the BBC is £15 a month basically.
It is,
if you've
yeah.
got your TV licence, £15 a month.
That's a lot,
Yeah.
yeah. And it needs to be struck down to less than that. I do pay it because we have to now. If you don't pay your TV license and you're watching YouTube or Facebook or even doing Zoom calls with more than 6 people, that constitutes requiring a TV license.
They've locked it down, haven't they?
They have, yeah. So you have to pay the TV license if you're doing any of those sorts of things, and that's a big problem. But you know, I guess I came back and I think my parents were paying the TV license. I was sitting down with the BBC going, this is terrific. I love this. An hour's worth of content. I'm watching The Apprentice without adverts. Wonderful. And then you get to see Top Gear on Dave, and it's been edited down to 45 minutes so they can pepper in a load of adverts here, there, and everywhere. And you're like, what? This isn't the way forward. But I've rambled on about that in the past, and I got myself in hot water by saying the BBC are great. But
£159 it is apparently. I thought it was more than that
Yeah.
actually. £159 divided by 12. It's £13.25 a month. I thought it had gone up. Is it not more than that?
I think they tried to put it up, but then they froze it.
Okay.
And Nadine Dorris, or whatever her name is, she got involved with it and didn't quite understand how streaming actually works, and told everyone that she shared her Netflix with everyone.
Fair enough.
That's funny. Anyway, Ted, do tell us about this
Talking
TikTok
about
nonsense.
not understanding how streaming works, slinky link. TikTok are trying to get in on the Spotify action by the looks of it. They've made an application in the authority where they need to be registering the title TikTok Music. So we don't know anything more than that really, except that the TikTok giant could be moving into pastures new and challenging the likes of, as I say, YouTube Music and Spotify and whoever else is out there streaming music. Apple Music comes to mind. Challenging in the marketplace. We'll see what comes of it.
Well, I do wonder what will happen with those folks that they are on TikTok, obviously, and they produce their own amateur music.
Yeah.
And I wonder if this will affect them in some way. That was it, musical Django. That was a big thing that happened over COVID, where bands were getting together, and each person was playing different instruments in different areas of the world, and eventually it was all edited together into one big song. They must have seen that exploding and wondering, how can we make money out of this? Because this is our platform that they're doing this on.
Yeah, definitely. Although you can put what you like onto YouTube, can't you? You don't need to be worried about that on YouTube Music. Oh no, you can't put it on YouTube Music, only on YouTube.
But it became a thing. It's not so much of a thing on YouTube. This is a thing on TikTok that people are going to TikTok exclusively to see and listening to playlists that have been assembled of amateur musicians.
Right.
Well, I suppose they would be professional musicians because they're still able to make some money out of it, and TikTok must be wanting a slice of that action.
Perhaps the amateurs are all going to move back to what's it called? SoundCloud, isn't it? SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Where that's what it was set up to do, I think, initially.
It was, but it became an expensive model because they wanted a piece of that action.
Yeah. Everyone wants to get in on the money, of course.
They do. Mm-hmm. And even behemoths like TikTok
and Amazon
that are doing very well as it stands. And Amazon. That's another slinky link there from your repertoire of slinky links. Amazon Drive is going to be shutting down so that they can focus on Amazon Photos. And I think we mentioned this on the last podcast, or on the Projector Room podcast. Where Amazon, if you're paying for your Prime subscription, you get fully unlimited picture storage on Amazon Photos. So I initially read this with horror because all of my photographs are up there as a backup. But no, they're focusing on the photo side of thing and video too. So hopefully they're just dredging it all up. They probably have Amazon Drive there, and people are just storing crap on it, and they're thinking, right, well, we can clear that out, and start really putting together a proper photo backup system that is actually second fiddle to your main backup system.
Is there a hookup between video and is it Twitch? I've never looked at Twitch, but that's an Amazon thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't think there is a connection.
Right, okay. So, yeah, I suppose the question is that in 2 years' time, what's next? If they're deciding that they can't compete with Google Drive and OneDrive and all the rest of it, who's to say in 2 years' time they'll say, well, you can't compete with Google Photos and Apple Photos, so we'll shut down Photos next. Then you'll be in the lurch, young man.
Oh, yeah. But I have to say that the difference between Google Photos and Amazon Photos, whenever it comes to their useful features, Amazon is a good step behind. Amazon have their facial recognition software, which isn't the greatest, but I have challenged it. I put up, I have a collection of around about 15,000 posters that I've collated over the years because I love poster art. Uh-huh. And I've put it up there, and the facial recognition has picked out some of my friends that appear in movies, apparently, and they've accidentally got mixed up between my grandfather and Peter Cushing, and I'm pretty sure they weren't the same people. Yeah. And it is kind of funny whenever you put someone up, and it can't quite distinguish between someone and someone else, and you do get some funny.
I do,
things.
Mistakes. Yeah. I do wonder, though, going back to Drive, I don't know anyone personally in amongst our circles that I know of, I don't think, that use Amazon Drive for anything. I've never put anything on it. Have you?
I have. I had a quick look. It's you can access all your photographs through Drive.
Oh, right.
But there was a few documents that I'd thrown up there as a backup and then promptly forgotten about. So there was an old insurance document for a car I don't have anymore that I thought, I'll just put that on Drive so I don't lose it. But then I stick them all on Google Drive instead. So
I've got one.
Maybe I picked the wrong.
I've got one file on mine. I just looked, and for some reason it's a picture of Helena Bonham Carter in Sweeney Todd. I've no idea why that's there. But that's it. One file, one JPEG. And Amazon have warned us, move it or lose it. I might lose that photo.
Oh, blimey, you don't want to do that. Is it available on Google Images? Can you find it again if the need requires?
Yeah, so anyway, I'm not sure if anyone will care much about Amazon Drive. We could be wrong. Have you used it, dear listener? Are you terribly affected by this?
Are you that one person? There's got to be some business somewhere that decided to do it. Yeah. But then, don't most cloud storage companies rent their space from Amazon anyway?
Do they?
Like Dropbox is Amazon File Storage or whatever it's called, AWS, or I've forgotten what it's called.
Really?
I think so, yeah. They just basically resell the space.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. Well, maybe they'll be in trouble too then.
Well, I think this is Amazon's side of things. Maybe they've allocated a certain amount of it to Google or to Amazon Drive, and no one's using it. So they're like, that's wasted space. Yeah. Let's rent that off to Dropbox or one of those weird 100 gigabyte free DGU things or something like that. DGU.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. All right. So YouTube is going to be implementing a rather spanky wee way that you can create a short from an existing video, just to sort of reinvigorate their whole shorts side of things. Where if you've, like myself, uploaded a video that is maybe quite popular or maybe not terribly popular, you can edit it into a wee short for distribution to try and get people to go in and watch it, which is kind of a nice way to do things. I quite like that idea. I don't know that I'm going to utilize it, but I do think that folks will be able to take segments of videos that are already existing and put them up, a bit like Netflix Laughs, where they've chopped out funny bits from videos on Netflix.
Okay.
So Steve could do that as well. He'd go back to his phone shown videos and chop out a little piece and distribute it as a short. It will also take the toll off him having to produce a short every couple of days, where he can just regurgitate something that he's done before.
I put that to him last night on PSC podcast, and he said, "No one wants to watch my videos from 5 years ago with outdated tech."
Well, it could be a nice sort of nostalgic walk down, because I thought about that as well. I still have my case full of all my old phones, and the odd time I'll get them out and have a wee play with them to see that they're still working. I was like, I should really do a video about this and see if it does well. And then don't. But you could do a quick short about it.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand how they're doing this. I tried to read it and digest it, and I thought that you'd have more idea because you actually do this creating thing. But it seemed to be talking about providing a link to... So you could do something new, but then provide a link to the original or something. Did you understand it more than I did?
Yeah, you can use shorts essentially as a trailer for a longer video that you have on YouTube.
Oh, okay. So you can add to it and put a link in.
Yeah, you can have just a quick 12-second snippet from a video that you want to promote, and then stick it out as a short as well.
But why can't you do that now? You could just do that now and hold a card up that says, "Here's the link to my other video."
You can do, but you can now just edit it directly from the video, so it'll save you time. Okay. Or you can go back and do old videos, so you don't have to go and re-download it.
Okay. Take
some of the elements out and put it back up.
Talking of saving time, this next one saves me loads of time. I'm cool on these links today, aren't I? Slinky links. This one is going to save me loads of time. There's this Chrome extension you can get. I don't know if you've noticed it, but when you try and download photographs from the web, they often come down now as nothing else except this WebP, W-E-B-P thingy. And
there's another one as well, which is AVIF or something like that.
Okay, right. Okay, so yeah, you obviously know what I'm talking about here. And I up to now I've had to go into my Earthend view, open it in there, save it again as a JPEG before I can use it in places where they only accept JPEGs, like for example MeWe, which I do a lot. Anyway, this new Chrome extension gets completely past that, and I've tested this out, and it works really well. It's called, what's the extension called? Save image as type. Save image as type, and then if you right mouse on an image from then on, you get a new thingy on the context menu that then gives you save image as type, and you can choose between JPEG, PNG, WebP, blah blah blah, and save it directly. It's only a little thing. It's a Chrome extension, and it just saves me loads of time. Does that have any impact on your life?
I've been using it for about 6 months now.
But you didn't say so. Then.
Already on that bus. No, I thought you'd maybe recommended it to me before. But it was a real pain in the ass having to do that, because I have in my browser bar a shortcut to ezgif.com, where whenever you download a WebP, you can just convert to a JPEG. But, having to do that every single time you download a WebP, it's a real pain in the ass. But now you can just right-click and do it, so I can lose that shortcut.
I've got to remember that it's there now. That's the trick. Remembering to do it and not do it the same way as I've done it for the last 10 years.
But one thing I have noticed that isn't working, and it's more for... I suppose when on my Windows 11 desktop, sending a phone an image really quickly to my phone, rather than hitting the share to device, which sometimes doesn't actually show up on my phone or whatever. I would do save to keep.
Yes.
And then I'd be able to open my phone, and then the image would be on keep, and I could download it directly. That doesn't seem to be working anymore. I can't.
It's working here because I did it last night. When I was looking at this story, I thought, I forgot about the keep thing. And, I'll pull up a photograph now and make absolutely sure. But it was last night for sure. So if I right-click on there, and, save image to keep, it's in my right context menu.
Well, I can do that, but whenever I actually go into keep, it's not there anymore.
Well, it is for me, definitely. So there's something wrong. Try giving your keep a big talking to.
Okay, right. I'll test it now. Google Images. I'll type in boobs. Right. Okay. So if there's an image of, oh, that's a bloke's boobs. Okay. So if I right click and then save to, where's it going?
Keep.
It's not
so
there.
it's been removed from Chrome then.
No. I just saw it a minute ago. Keep Chrome extension is there. Oh, right. Save current page as keep. Save image to keep. That's different to what I just saw on that other website.
Really?
I'll go to that other website. Right. Okay. So let's go to that website, and it's the Save Web P. Right. So that image of the Web P. Right click, and there's Save Image to keep. Click that, and it worked.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay.
Jolly technology.
It is, yes. And I've got 3 pairs of boobs, in my male boobs as well, in my keep. I'll have to remember to move those.
Yes.
Right,
indeed.
okay. So, Chromebook. What's new in ChromeOS news?
Starting with the second one, which is related to the first, to what we've just been talking about, Chrome could start to let you take notes directly on the websites you visit.
Wonderful.
So apparently, this some form of this has been available so far in Edge. You used Edge for a while, didn't you? And you
Yes.
do that there, but they're going to bring this
Yes.
into Chrome, into the. I think it's available at the moment in the Canary builds, and you'll be able to right-click it on a web page, and then just save it in the same way as you can. Well, yeah, tell us about Edge, because I think you've already been doing this, haven't you?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I can't remember.
Oh right.
And it was Windows maybe 11 or OneNote and things that got into implementation as well. Using it on the Samsung tablet, I was able to essentially screenshot a website and then be able to note on it.
Yeah.
And highlight things and stuff that I wanted to talk about.
And then there'll be a right-hand panel where your saved bits of websites are, and that'll give you a link to go straight back there, and you can write notes about each one. It's a bit, it's a bit like the whole kind of thing we were talking about before, which was the right-hand panel that was also available via a flag in the early builds of Chrome. But yeah, that'll be an interesting development, I think. Chromebooks are also going to become available as a mobile hotspot. So those ones that are available with a SIM card in, which are growing apparently. I haven't got one, but apparently they're becoming more common. So you put a SIM card into your Chromebook, and then you'll be able to use natively within the ChromeOS very soon, apparently, a mobile hotspot and connect other devices to that for when you're doing whatever else you're doing out and about, and not have to rely on other means. There's also a hidden flag which you can turn on, again I think in Canary at the moment, which is going to stop Chrome from hogging your RAM, which is a hobby horse of yours, I know, slowing down...
Not for Chrome.
No?
No, it is for Windows, but... Well, no, all right, sorry, I got you, right. Chrome on Windows desktop, not as in on your Chromebook.
No,
right.
As in Chrome, the browser. And you'll be able to install this flag, which I read this and I can't understand a blind word of what they're saying about the clever ways in the background that it's doing the stuff it's doing with JavaScript and holding things in memory for much shorter lengths of time and moving it around. I don't know if you understood more of that, but the net result of that is that those hogging activities that have been happening will not happen so much, and you'll get a better experience with Chrome, the browser.
Why not just have this on by default?
Yeah, definitely. Perhaps it will do in time. They are just playing with it. And ChromeOS is adding video editing. I noticed you thumbs up this when I posted it, because you do videos, and maybe, I mean, it looks like this ChromeOS editing feature is very basic, and it hasn't got many functions going on for it at the moment. And I'm not even sure if it's available to everyone yet. But for someone like you and Steve who create videos, is that going to be something useful?
It's more sort of just the idea of being able to quickly trim a video if you shoot something while you're out and you want to get the start and the end off it.
Right.
Say, for example, the slow motion thing on video on the Chrome Pixel. On the Google Pixel. It would be nice to be able to just trim off the starts and the ends of it where it's at sort of a normal speed whenever you wanted to go down to 120 frames per second.
Right.
To get rid of those bits. That would be kind of nice in Google Photos.
It looks quite basic though, doesn't it?
It does, but it's the start of something.
It's a start. We'll give them that. Yeah, so some kind of interesting things going on. Well, the most exciting one for me, I think, is that taking notes on the website, personally.
Oh, yeah. Just imagine what that'll bring to being able to do these podcasts more effectively and having bits circled going, there's the price there, rather than reading it yesterday and going, didn't I see the price on this? Which one had 6 speakers? Which one has 8 speakers?
Giving listeners the impression that we actually know what we're talking about.
We'll never, ever do that. I guarantee you, Ted. Don't worry, listeners. We will continue to be more
a pair of buffoons.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Moving into Hark Back here, where Ted can tell us all about something that I never had.
Yes, the BT Roma 500. I couldn't remember if I'd done this before or not in Hark Back, but I don't think I did. The BT Roma 500, circa 1995, I think, or 4 or 5, somewhere around there. And it was it wasn't my first mobile phone, but it was the first phone that looked kind of an awful lot like a mobile phone, and it had a SIM card in it. And the SIM card was no ordinary SIM card. It wasn't a nano SIM card. It wasn't a micro SIM card. It wasn't even a mini SIM card. It was a full-size SIM card. So in the back of this phone, you put a credit card size card, and in the very corner of this thing was the SIM card that we know and love today. And it was a very basic phone. It was really, really nice. But the interesting thing about it was that it was clearly, I've spoken about pagers in Hark Back before. I loved my pagers. With a pager, you had to go and if someone paged you, you had to find a phone to call them back or do anything to take action, or get in the car and drive to where they were or whatever. This became a bit of a hybrid of that because it could receive text messages, but it couldn't send them out. So someone could send you a message, and I did this with work. At work, I would be somewhere else, and they'd send me a message, and I'd have to find a phone to call into base. But of course, if you've got the BT Roma 500, you can then just use the phone to phone them. But it's just really funny that you can receive an SMS, but you can't send one back out again. So those were the early days of it, a bit of a hybrid, really. And that was it, really. There's not a huge amount to say about it. It's just a beautiful design. I really love the design. It was so nicely made. I think, actually, it was an Alcatel rip-off, and BT had put their badge on it and called it a different name. And it was just a really nice phone. I really enjoyed using it, and it felt like it was made like it felt like it was made by a Nokia, actually, by Nokia. It felt really solid, and all the buttons just pressed beautifully, and the screen was lovely, and I just got great memories of that phone. I thought it was a super device, and very, very basic, but great.
Just to give the picture here, it's pictured in front of the manual, and then the manual has a picture of the phone that has an aerial. This one doesn't have the aerial. I'm just wondering is it broken?
No, you pull it up. If you look at the picture, right on the very corner there. No, in fact, you don't pull it up. Someone's taken it out. It screws in. So on the top right-hand corner of the picture, you can just see the socket for it. And they've taken it out, because I think I remember that it screws in and screws out. Or does it telescopic? Oh, do you know, I can't remember.
It does look like it's a screw-on one from the picture in the manual.
Yeah.
But just some of the features here. A 24-hour clock. Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh, cutting edge.
2 memories you can put in there. 2 numbers. Everyone else you had to remember the number for.
And you probably have to put your own in there as well as one of them, because you can't remember what it is to say. We're not used to, back in those days, we had, 5 digits in our phone numbers, maybe 6.
Yeah,
So having to remember a 9-digit or 10-digit mobile number was...
But that book,
alien.
I can remember that spiral-bound book really, really clearly. I think I had that for years and years and years after I lost the phone, like in a drawer, and I found it. And it reminded me of those great days. The screen was kind of back. It looked just like an early Nokia, only it was broader and more solid. It was a bigger phone because you had to fit that full size credit card, SIM card in the back. But the screen looks just like a Nokia screen with this kind of side lit, yellowy, orangey light. It was just fantastic. I loved that phone, and I can remember feeling like the dog's dinner with that, with people around me who had these crappy little nothing phones. Those that had a phone at all, that was. And I think it was 1995. I could be wrong on the day. Oh, it says here released in 95, so yeah, that would confirm it. It's got a calculator in it.
Great.
How about that, eh? Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. The phone is missing the external aerial. It says it. It's in black and white.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, I was right. I think it's screwed in and screwed out, and that was it. It wasn't telescopic. It just that's what you got. It was that nub.
Brilliant.
Very nice. I really enjoyed that phone, and looking at it now brings back real good nostalgic memories. The BT Roma 500. Yes.
How long do you think you had it for? Just out of interest.
Probably a couple of years.
A couple of years?
Yeah, maybe. No,
right, okay.
Actually, because it depends when phones came. Phones came out that you could send SMS messages back out. Because as soon as that happened, I would have got rid of it and got one that you could do two-way messaging on. But I honestly can't tell you when that was. I wish I'd kept a log in my calendar or something of what phones I had when, because it'd be quite interesting to look back on and see when you switched things.
I do remember I had a little image as I was, over the years, I put together and I drop in a new picture of each phone that I got until I started reviewing tech. And that's whenever it kind of got a bit crazy, because you get phones in for maybe 6 months and then you have to send it back or something. So it wasn't technically yours, but you were using it for a longer amount of time. But I had I think it was a thing that people did at the time, and I think I had on my website of all the phones that I've had. And I was trying to work out, just in my head, how long you actually kept them for whenever you had those original old BT Cellnet phones and Motorola phones. They were I bought my first one as pay-as-you-go, but I'd love to know how long I had it for before I upgraded to another phone after that. Yeah. Was it kind of the 2-year cycle that we would generally be doing now if you took out a contract on a mobile phone, or would it be less? Would you dump it, as you say, as soon as the new must-have feature of two-way messaging arrived?
Hang on a minute, we might have a bit of an answer here, because in 1996, the Nokia 9000 communicator came out, and I had one of those, so that was only a year later.
But did you get it in 96? Did you get it as soon as it arrived?
Probably not, because I probably wouldn't have been able to afford to. You're quite right. But the Nokia 5.1 I had, if you click back, there's a list of... I'm sure it probably isn't an exhaustive list, but it gives some clues as to what came out when. Let me have a look and see. Right, okay. Oh, the 6100. So the 6110, okay, 1997. I definitely had that. That was that iconic Nokia that they sold to business, and the later version had the Bluetooth built in as well. They upped the game with a 6110A, I think it was, and I definitely had that on release day. So that was 1997. So perhaps I was right. 2 years.
Fair enough. Okay. my first ever mobile was listed there as well, the Motorola G520, and I got that at the end of its lifespan, I think, so it must have been about 1999.
Okay.
Because I had to I had no. I lost out on being cast in the lead movie or a lead role in a movie because I didn't have a mobile phone.
Yeah. Oh, the G5.
And I couldn't get a hold.
Did you say the G520?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that. It had that strange little cluster on the right of controls. Yeah.
10 text messages it could hold, and a phone book that you couldn't put names in, just numbers. 10 numbers, I think. That was
but
it.
Not names.
So you got to learn the last 3 digits of your friends' numbers. Who sent me that text message? I don't know.
It's a great website, that. I like that. It's
it is
engagingwithcommunications.com.
Terrific.
Yeah, very
nice
good.
one. All right. Bargain basement, because we're running long. Very long. Yes. The first one here, Ted. Take it away.
No, it's yours. Well, you put it in here, but I'll take it if you want. This is the...
No,
you're right. You carry on.
No, yeah, okay, I'll fire with it. I thought I tweeted this one, actually. It's the Logitech MX Anywhere 2S wireless mouse. This is a wee portable mouse that combines together the niceties of the Logitech range, and it's been reduced in price from £80 down to £30, which I thought was a bit of a steal, to be honest. But Ted, you bought one, and you mentioned something that put me off it greatly.
Yeah, I've ordered one because it's a really good price, and then I discovered after I'd ordered it that it's got micro USB charging port. The Anywhere 3, the updated version, has got the USB-C. But yeah, this one is pretty much exactly the same, and it's got a lot of the features. The reason I ordered it was because, frankly, this MX Mouse 3, or whatever it's called, the MX Master 3, I'm finding it too big, and I thought that I'll try this little thing because it's cheap, because it's smaller. I've been trying this one for quite a long time now, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's just bigger than the mouse I've used for the last 230 years, and so I thought I'd give this a go, and as you linked to a cheap price on it, I thought I would get it, and I've ordered it now, so I will get it in. But the Anywhere 3, the cheapest price I could find on that was £54 something, so it wasn't worth, the point about yours was that it was a bargain, and it does 70 days of charge without up to 70 days, which means you don't need to worry about micro USB charging too much, do you?
No. What is it? 3 minutes will get you a full day's worth of use on a charge, exactly. Which is crazy.
So annoying as it might be for it not to be USB-C, I think I'll live with it.
But I'm sure you still have micro USB cables about, so it's not the worst thing to have.
I absolutely do. It's just annoying that everything's not universal. Black Shark 4 and Black Shark 5 are all reduced, and vouchers. If you want the Black Shark 4, last year's model, this is the 128GB version, mind you. 120 watt fast charging. That Poco phone, that was one of the amazing features about that. Sitting watching that charge. 17 minutes from flat to full, and you just sit watching it. By the time you've had a shower, it's charged. Just amazing. So, the Black Shark 4...
Faster than watching paint dry.
Yes. The Black Shark 4 is £369.99, and the Black Shark 5 is £417 after all vouchers and stuff has been taken off. And they are really nice phones, but I think Black Shark have been separated out from Xiaomi now, so they might be going their own way with the UI instead of having Xiaomi's, hopefully.
And they're good looking phones. Yeah. That's a bargain. $499 or $439. Sorry for the
$417. Because
the 8GB 128 is $439. That's a nice
£22 voucher as well. You're not seeing that?
Oh yeah, I'm seeing that.
Yeah. So they both got
nice.
Both got vouchers on, and I think $417 for that Black Shark 5 is a really good price. 120 watt hypercharge. Have you ever seen that in action?
No. It's
and the new
do a time lapse on
the new OnePlus phone coming out. It's got 150.
Wow. And we'll come to one of those later. Next up is the Samsung U28R55 This is the UR55 series LED monitor. It's a 28-inch 4K 60 Hz IPS display with a bunch of stuff, HDR and all that kind of stuff. It's cheap. It's 250 quid down to £163.49. That's impressive. And it's a good looking display, but also because it's made by Samsung, you know you're going to be getting a slightly more quality experience than some of the other brands. You also get 33% off Microsoft Game Pass on your PC, which would be, I don't know, useful to some, I suppose. But I quite like this. It's a nice idea for a second display. 28 inches is pretty big too. Ted, what do you think of that?
Flat?
Flat, yeah.
Flat, innit?
Flat. Ah, it is.
Yeah.
There's a 32-inch curved version of it that's £343, down from £379. But that didn't seem like quite as good a deal.
Oh, yeah, so there is. Yeah. I now I've got a curved screen. I can't see a way back, personally. I've got this lovely... What make is it? I can't remember what make this monitor is.
AOC, was it not?
Oh, was it AOC? No, it wasn't. It was something much posher than that. Hang on a minute. I'll press the button on the back. It's some gaming firm. What is it? Oh, I can't remember now. That's not helping. Anyway, yeah, good bargain. Samsung. I like Samsung stuff. It just seems to be really well. Although this is an LCD, not an OLED, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to look at my order history now and tell you what that's flipping. Even though we're running,
what this screen sitting in front of you is.
There's no badge on it. Oh, MSI. That was it. So it's
yes. Military grade.
31.5 inch, which is actually 32 inch. Anyway, sorry, we're running long. Back to you. Oh no, it's me.
No, it's back to you.
WD My Passport Portable, which is a bit like the SanDisk one that I've got, 2 gigabytes, but this one's 1 gigabyte, and it's been reduced from £222 to £105. Bit of a bargain there. It doesn't have the SanDisk's water and chuck it about protection, but even so, these are good little things, and they're really, really handy. Yeah, everyone should have one for your wallet.
Absolutely. And in gold, it's very pretty.
Very pretty indeed.
Pretty's the word. And the last one we have is the OnePlus 9 Pro, the 5 gigabyte SIM-free version of the phone with a Hasselblad camera, which is a great thing. If you want a OnePlus, it's wonderful to have the Hasselblad branding on there.
And the alert slider.
Yes, a novelty that'll never go away. The Morning Mist version with 8 gigabytes of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage, plus a 2-year warranty, is down in price from £830 all the way to £523.66.
And
there's probably
a £70 voucher. I worked it out to end up 454 quid. That's staggering, isn't it?
Gosh,
that's almost half price.
That's crazy.
This is
money.
because they're bringing the 10 out, presumably, any minute.
Yeah. But you're still getting a hell of a phone there.
It's a great phone.
6.3-inch fluid display.
Yeah.
Power on tap. Snapdragon 888 5G processor inside and stuff as well.
Great phone. And warp charging, which I think is 65 watt, although I could be wrong on that. 65, I think it's 65 watt. Anyway, that'll be, I mean, it's not going to be a 120, but it's still going to be pretty fast.
Yeah.
That's a real good deal, isn't it? 400 something quid. Wow.
Oh, yeah. I'll tweet that out. If anyone wants to find it, they can go to my Twitter and it'll be on there for you guys to click on and buy if you want.
Fantasimodo.
Absolutely. All right. Well, the tweet's away. There we go. No, it's not. I forgot to hit tweet. There we go. That's always the helpful thing about Twitter is hitting tweet sends tweet.
Clever.
Okay, if you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us at gareth@techaddicts.uk. I don't think I've checked that in, I don't know, 6 months or whatever, but I'm sure I will do at some point. And I've got Tech Addicts UK Twitter site type thing as well, where you can find there. Or you can find me on Twitter at Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. I also have my .com. I've got a tiny bit of a facelift just to make it a wee bit faster on your browser. And there's a link to my Ko-Fi coffee thing as well if you want to buy me a coffee. Ted, where can they find you?
They can find me at tedsalmon.com. Links out from there to all the audio podcasts that we're involved in and all the MeWe groups as usual. If you want to buy me a coffee instead of Gareth, you can do that at paypal.me/tedsalmon. And if you're going to Amazon, please use my affiliate link. It'd be very helpful. tinyurl.com/Amazon Ted UK. And that really helps with a few incoming pennies too. So yes, I'll catch you next week.
Aye, we will do. Take care and have a lovely week. And bye.
Bye.